Wow, look at this. How about this? Someone who we have not heard from in a very, very long time is another great quarterback from NFL lore. How about this? Broadway Joe. Broadway Joe, welcome back to the show. How are you, sir? Long time no speak.
Hey, Dave. How are you doing? You know what? I have a bone to pick with you, though.
What's that?
Well, you're mentioning a list of names of the greatest all-time quarterbacks.
Right.
And I noticed that you did not mention my name.
Oh, well, listen, I was remiss in leaving you off the list, Broadway Joe. Of course, you can't have a conversation about the best quarterbacks in NFL history without mentioning the name Broadway Joe. My apologies, sir.
Let me tell you about Brett Favre, the man.
All right, please do.
Look, Brett is a quality, classy guy.
Right.
He's got a touch on the football. He's a passer, not a thrower. Now, I could care less about Brett Favre.
What do you mean? He retired today. All right. So what do you mean you could care less?
Look, I guarantee he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I agree. There's no question that he will be.
I guarantee you.
I guarantee it, too. I agree with you 100%, Broadway Joe.
I could care less if he makes the Hall of Fame.
All right, well, all right, I guess fair enough then. What's happening with you, Broadway Joe? How are things in your life?
Look, this is who I'm talking about. Look, you got a guy who's a character, but on the football field, it was a special package.
No arguing with that. So Broadway Joe joining us here.
I'm talking about the Diesel.
The Diesel?
Yeah, John Riggins.
Right.
He had a.
How did John Riggins work his way into the conversation?
He had a way of running the football and wearing down the other team.
Mm-hmm.
Look, this one time, and don't think I'm speaking out of school. When I say Diesel used to like being under the influence of a little LSD.
I guess that is rumored from his early days in the league there.
It was a night. We were at Toots Shores in New York. And the Diesel says, "Hey, Broadway Joe, let's hitchhike. Where do you want to go? And let's do it in the news. Let's go to Lawrence, Kansas, where, he broke Gale Sayers' rushing record."
Sure, I did know that.
But I said I would like to go to Tuscaloosa.
Where you went to school.
But then I said, Diesel, we have a game to play tomorrow. And we're still going to be under the influence.
So wait a second. The plan was you were going to hitchhike nude. Let me just make sure I understand. You were going to hitchhike nude from Toots Shores in New York City to either Lawrence, Kansas, or to Tuscaloosa.
Hey, wherever those Lufthansa ladies from the stewardess convention were at.
Where did they come into the picture? I don't think you mentioned them earlier.
I used to own a club.
Oh, you did?
In New York.
Mm-hmm.
And these ladies came, and they were talking to a certain gentleman, a
was it Brett Favre?
Who happened to be a leg breaker for the mob.
Oh.
Look, I could care less about this.
I thought this was going to be a story about Brett Favre, maybe there, Broadway Joe. No?
I just want to kiss you.
Well, I don't want to get into that again. It sounds I don't want to put you on the spot, Broadway Joe, but have you were talking about being under the influence. Are you by chance have you maybe had a couple tonight?
And he looks at me, and I saw the way his eyes were dilated.
Who?
The Diesel. I knew he was under the influence of LSD.
Yeah, well, but I'm just curious.
He had a game to play
the
next day. Now, I'm just saying that this is a guy on anybody's short list of the greats, and
Broadway.
He was a guy who would take you into the playoffs.
Sure. Well,
you could rely on him.
I really appreciate Broadway Joe, you calling in here and everything, and I don't want to cut you off. And that was a very colorful yarn from the past, from your past. But I kind of want to focus on Brett Favre right at this moment. But listen, always a thrill to hear from you. Thanks so much, Broadway Joe. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Hey,
all right.
thanks a lot.
All right, there he goes. Broadway Joe. Yeah, I thought we were getting to Brett Favre at some point in that story. I don't know. Broadway Joe sounds like maybe he's had a few under the
influence. If you tell a story, it should have a point. It's simple.
Yeah,
I love Scotch.
All right, well, let's. Good, we've got another call here. Let's talk to Phil over in Santa Monica. Phil, welcome to the show. Your thoughts on Brett Favre?
You know, people ask me,
oh, no.
Broadway Joe, what do you think of Susie Colbert, the lady?
Right.
Not the journalist, the lady.
Mm-hmm. One and the same.
She's hey, I just want to kiss her.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I still do.
I saw that. Yeah, I remember
that.
She is
a beautiful lady.
She definitely is. But, all right, well, listen.
Look, Brett Favre is, you can compare him among the greats.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. All right, very good, Broadway Joe or Phil from Santa Monica, please. Again, thank you for the call, and please don't try to trick me. We're moving on to Brett Favre talk. So anyway, so Dan Marino, obviously, all of his records were broken. I don't know if you figure that he goes down as the greatest quarterback of all time, or if you're the sort of customer who gauges the best quarterback by number of championships, then you have to talk about the Tom Brady's, and really a guy who's often left out of the conversation is Terry Bradshaw. You know, the Steeler great. Obviously his numbers don't stack up, but 4 Super Bowls there, and here we go. Let's talk some Brett Favre here with Stan in Yorba Linda. Stan, what's going on?
You know, whenever considering Terry Bradshaw, hey, he's a classy guy. With a touch on the football,
mm-hmm.
and he's as bald as a cue ball. But
yeah,
that's
he is.
Between Terry, that's a joke we have. But he's a passer.
It's a funny joke.
You know, I could care less about Terry Bradshaw.
Well, you're the one who started talking about it, so.
And his squirrel eating.
I don't know what he eats. That's really not.
I guarantee I could care less about Terry Bradshaw.
All right, well, fair enough then. We don't have to talk about him.
He's a character.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you this, on the football field, he was a special package.
All right, listen, Stan or Broadway Joe or Phil, whatever, listen. This is it, the last time, man. All right, enough. Thank you so much for calling. Why don't you just sit down, have a couple more cans of your favorite drink there, and that'll be that. All right, thank you, Broadway Joe. All right, please. I mean, I'd like to talk about Brett Favre. The man passed away today. I mean, he didn't pass away. He retired, whatever happened to him. And anyway, so, yeah, you know, another guy who's fun to talk about is Tom Brady. And because I think probably in mid-January, late January of '08, as recently as that, you would say Tom Brady really is maybe going to go down in history. In fact, I don't think there was much question among football fans that Tom Brady was going to go down in history as the greatest quarterback of all time. All he had to do was complete the job, finish the undefeated season, and then that's how he would be remembered. 4 Super Bowls before he even turns 30. I don't even think he's 30 yet, is he? And either way, so he might rack up some more there, but certainly he would be in there. And let's talk to Jim here in West LA. Jim.
You want to go to Tuscaloosa or to Lawrence? And I said, don't you call me a Greek ape. First of all, I'm Hungarian. They called me the Hungarian howitzer when I was back in Beaver Falls.
Right, Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania is where you're from.
Hey, if Bear, our coach, finds out, we're going to get in a whole mess of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he said, Broadway Joe.
Wait, Bear Bryant called you Broadway Joe? You hadn't even gone to New York yet. You've gone from Beaver Falls to Tuscaloosa.
This was the Diesel.
Oh, I thought you said Bear Bryant had said that to you. I see.
Hey,
so
Bear
you
Bryant had a way of coaching that was, ahead of his time.
Sure. Well, he was very successful, of course.
He had 11 title victories.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know who else is from that, who played his college football in that part of the country, right next door to Alabama there, was Brett Favre, played at Southern Mississippi. I mean, Southern Miss.
I could care less about Brett Favre. Dave, I just want to kiss you.
Okay, very good. Listen, Broadway Joe, thank you so much.
I want to kiss you.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate the call. Broadway Joe, be well, and please, call back soon. Not too soon, though, but call back.